Two future International Boxing Hall of Famers, Sergey the Crusher Kovalev and Saul Canelo Alvarez. They're very different in their fighting styles, and even more so the antithesis in the roads and paths they've traveled to get to this Saturday night's light heavyweight championship fight at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Kovalev had a much more extensive and successful amateur career than did Canelo. For much of Kovalev's amateur career, the 29-year-old Mexican sensation Canelo was already fighting professional. This despite being 7 years the junior to the 36-year-old thunderous puncher from Russia. Canelo turned pro at the tender age of 15 in 2005, while Kovalev didn't turn pro until 2009 at the ripe old age of 26. Ripe and old, that is, for a pro debut in boxing. By the time Kovalev made this professional debut, Canelo already was a seasoned vet, having had 28 professional fights. Canelo Alvarez must take his time and do his thing. He is a calculating cat inside the squared circle, and that's going to be important against Kovalev, who is certainly one of the biggest guys he's ever faced, and definitely the hardest puncher Canelo has ever been against in his professional career. Fortunately for Sergey Kovalev, one of the most important weapons, and it usually is, will be his jab. In his case, the left jab. He is one of the most effective jabbers in the light heavyweight division, and it'll come in handy. He's the longer guy, the taller guy, so he's going to be pumping that left jab all night long, trying to keep the shorter Canelo at bay. And with the jab, against a guy like Canelo, who has that tremendous defense, the bob and weave in, upper body movement, head and shoulder movement, you don't have to throw the jab to try to catch him on the chin. Just lay it right center chest. Just pump, pump, pump. Keep doing that. Set up the distance, leverage, and timing, and then start to drop in his most powerful shot. That's his lethal right hand off the jab. And that'll come, I think he'll start throwing it with some power probably after the first couple of rounds. But it all starts with the long left jab, and then turn the right hand over. That's going to be key for Sergey Kovalev. As great an offensive fighter as Canelo is, great counterpuncher, maybe the best two-fisted fighter and a combination puncher in all of boxing, it's all set up with his great defense. The 4 C's, I call it: compact, complex, composed, and complete. He's going to need all of that to set up his offense against the longer, lankier Kovalev. Upper body movement, bobbing, weaving, slipping and sliding, and getting in position to get on the inside. You'll see him get in position and slide over and then set up those lethal left hooks to the body and to the head of Sergey Kovalev. Now, once he gets inside and he's landing the left hooks, he needs to do something that Andre Ward did: step to the side and crank right hands to the body of Kovalev. That is something that Ward did in their rematch so effectively. So it's not just the left hook, it's both hands to the body by Canelo against Kovalev. If he does that, he's probably going to be a light heavyweight champion. As for Canelo's right hand, which is excellent, I don't feel in this fight it will be as effective against the taller and longer Kovalev. However, Canelo can still utilize the one that KO'd Amir Khan by feinting a throwaway jab and then coming over the top, slightly looping it more than the one that caught the much shorter Amir Khan on the chin. It might find a home on Kovalev's forehead. Even though Sergey Kovalev is the naturally bigger guy, he's the real light heavyweight in this fight. What he needs to do is actually box. Buddy McGirt has done a great job with making him fight like a boxer puncher rather than a puncher boxer. And it all is going to start with the long left hand of Sergey Kovalev. He needs to use the jab all night long to keep Canelo at bay and away from his somewhat suspect body. You're not going to beat a fighter, especially a great defensive fighter like Canelo Alvarez, with just 1 or 2 punches. The 1-2 for Kovalev is going to be key, but he has something else. His number 3 is actually the 1 again. He is great at throwing the 1-2-1, 1, 2, and then the jab again. But that 1 at the end becomes a corkscrew jab, a power jab, or think of a straight left hand in terms of if you're a southpaw. By the way, it's the shot that James Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson in what was perhaps the greatest upset in boxing history. So what happens and why it's so effective is Kovalev with that range, that distance, throws the 1-2. The left hand is back here coiled up and ready to be unleashed as a power shot. 1-2-1 is what he's going to look for all night long. It's really hard to put into historical perspective what this fight means on Saturday night. No matter what for Canelo Alvarez, it'll be a great accomplishment to go from a guy, who started as a welterweight all the way up to the light heavyweight division. And certainly he'll join an elite group of guys who won titles at a $154, a $160, and 175 if he is to defeat Kovalev. I think the only guys that have done that, the body snatcher Mike McCallum, the great Sugar Ray Leonard, and his rival Tommy Hearns. But my great friend and boxing historian Lee Groves, I saw a stat that he had where if Canelo wins this fight, he'll join Henry Armstrong as the only fighter in boxing history to hold 3 different weight division titles simultaneously. But how do you compare that to what Homicidal Hank did when there were only like 8 divisions? Now there's about 272. You have catch weights. Guys, weigh in the day before the fight. So if Canelo does it, I guess technically he joins that elite status of a Homicidal Hank, but it would almost be a homicide to compare that to what Henry Armstrong did. Nevertheless, it'll be a tremendous accomplishment for Canelo Alvarez. I'm actually pretty damn excited about this fight on Saturday night for so many of the reasons that we've covered. I like both guys, and I think they're both great fighters. Prediction, I'm going to go with Saul Canelo Alvarez to win this fight, mainly because he's quicker, he's faster, speed kills everything. Kovalev, at 36 years of age, has certainly slowed down quite a bit. So I think that'll be the key, the speed and the quickness and the intelligence of Canelo Alvarez. And oh, by the way, he's pretty damn tough to defeat when it goes to the scorecards at the MGM Grand or anywhere in Vegas for that matter. I think Canelo wins a decision and becomes a light heavyweight champion on Saturday night. No matter what happens, it's great that we have these two fighting each other. Enjoy the fights, everybody.